Hello friends and fans and enthusiasts of Steel Division Normandy 1944. Major here. So today's video is going to be on how to create a battle group, and we'll jump straight into it. So you can see here I've got one battle group existing, which is the 15th Infantry Division, the Scottish Division, and within the Axis side I've got the 12th SS Panzer Hitlerjugend and the 17th SS Panzer Grenadiers. So for this video, we'll create a new one and we'll call it the 3rd Armoured Command, or 3rd Armoured Spearhead might be better. Alright, so done. So what we then need to do is we'll select that one. And that is the units we need to populate in the light shaded areas. And the areas are broken down into the following groups: Recon, Infantry, Tank, Support, Anti-Tank, Anti-Air, Artillery and Aircraft. So if you've played Red Dragon, this is very, very similar. The big difference between Red Dragon and Steel Division is that A, it's set in the Second World War, and also it's broken down into 3 phases. So for this game in Steel Division, you have Phase A, Phase B and Phase C. And put simply, and other people may disagree and configure this in a different mindset, Phase A for me is reconnaissance, about capturing ground and trying to spot the enemy avenues of advance. Phase B is consolidating your ground, where you get reinforcements. And C is where you can bring in some of your heavy big boys that you've selected in your battle group to then push your advantage to victory. So that's the mindset I'm going to have. So we'll go into reconnaissance to start with. So Recon, you can see that we have scouts in different configurations. We have scouts in jeeps. We have M8 armoured cars. Now you see here on each of the units, if I go back and click the scouts, you see there where the cursor is, it's got an A in it. So for Phase A, or the first phase of the game, within reconnaissance, only those units I'm circling with the A in their unit photographs or drawings are the ones that I can pick for this initial phase. So we want some units that can travel quickly and have some firepower. So if we look at the scouts, yep, you look over at the scouts, they've got 2 Thompson machine guns and they've got 2 Garand carbines or rifles. So yeah, bit of firepower there. So we might go for those. Different recon here, only with the Thompson submachine gun, but does have a 50 cal machine gun on the Jeep, although that is very exposed. So we might take one of those as well. So in those 2 units that I've picked so far, you've got the first ones. We've got 4 scouts in the Jeep, and then we've got 3 scouts in the Jeeps, but with a 50 caliber machine gun. So we might also get a couple of M8 armoured cars for a little bit of extra firepower, and that'll do us recon in the initial Phase A. So infantry, once again, you can see the units we can select with the letter A in their drawing. So we'll go for some rifles. We'll go for a couple of rifles. That gives us 8 M3 half tracks with infantry, and we'll also need, we'll also need to get some leaders. The leaders in the Steel Division are very important. They help keep morale up, keep them under control. If you don't have a command unit with the subordinate units, they'll tend to withdraw and fall back when they come under fire a little bit quicker than what you may want to. So tank, we'll go to Phase A again, so we can get a couple of Shermans, or we can go for the Stuart Honey tanks, the M5s. So let's go for a couple of Shermans, and then we'll go for a command Sherman as well, and we get 2 of those. Oh, that's phase B, sorry. Phase A, yeah, little Stuart Honey tank as a command tank. And because we've put it, oh, made a mistake there, thank you. Still need a command. Alright, so that's our tanks in phase A. So support, this is our heavier weapons if you like. We've got flamethrowers, got another M8, but with a heavier gun. It's got the 75mm howitzer, and we've got another command tank. Support, that's for replenishment, going to need some replenishment. Replace all those shells we intend to put down range at our enemies. And what other support do we have? Oh yeah, Sherman with 105mm howitzer. That might be handy, but that's phase B. Can't have them in this. We're just doing phase A to start with. What have we got there? Alright, so we've got some Jeeps with the 50 cal. We don't want those. So we'll get a couple of M8 scout cars with the 75mm howitzer. Oh, we might get a couple of them actually. And because we've got vehicles there, we need to have a command unit as well. Alright, anti-tank, what have we got? We've got the M1 57mm, and we can get a few of those. So let's whack in a couple of those. Anti-aircraft, so we've got the single 12.7 machine gun, or we can go for the Bofors. Now the Bofors I prefer because it's a larger caliber weapon at 40mm at 92 rounds a minute, so it can certainly put some ammo down range, but it can also knock out light armoured vehicles. So we'll take those as well. So we've got plenty of anti-aircraft there for a dual purpose. Artillery. So phase A we've got mortars, and you can see phase B we've got the M4 Shermans with 155mm cannon. And then we've also got the artillery pieces with the Priest with the M7 and also the Calop mounted on the top of the Sherman. And in phase C we go back to the Priest and more M4 tanks with the Calop rocket system on the top. So phase A, what have we got there? 80mm mortar, 81mm mortar mounted in the back of the half track. We might forego the artillery in phase A. Now back to air. So in phase A we can get a P-38 Lightning. P-38 Lightning, plenty of machine guns and some rockets. And we can also get a Mustang, a couple of Mustangs for air support. So we'll start off with the reconnaissance aircraft so we know where our enemies are. Then we'll take a Lightning, and we'll take a couple of Mustangs as well. Alright, so if we go back to Recon, now we've done phase A, now we're up to phase B. So this is where we're going to consolidate with our forces, secure our ground, and then build our forces once we get into phase C for the push to victory. So phase B in Recon we can get some more M8s and 37mm gun and a couple of machine guns. Phase C, same. So we might just take another couple of the M8s, and that closes out our reconnaissance. So infantry, we've got the rifles. So we've got the Garand, we've got the Springfield, and we've got a bazooka for engineers. We've got explosive satchels, rifles, and a couple of submachine guns. So I think we might go the armoured rifles, and we'll take a couple of those. And we'll also need to have a leader as well. Well, we've already got 3 leaders in phase A, so can we risk it that those leaders will survive to phase B? Can't, so we'll just get some more leaders. So we've got the commanders there for phase A, phase B. We'll go to tanks. This is where we can start to get some bigger boys out. So for phase B, we can either go for 3 M4A3s with a 75 or 1 M4A3 with a better 76mm gun. Would prefer to try and get some quantity out there at this stage of the game when you're trying to consolidate your position. So we'll put a couple of M4A3s with a 75mm out there. Let's go back to support. That's where we can get some better weapons. We've already got the support trucks out there for rearming ammunition. So now we might go for the M4A3s with a 105mm howitzer. Now we'll go to anti-air. Oh, sorry, anti-tank. So this is where we can get the bigger anti-tank guns as well. So let's go for the 76mm anti-tank gun. We only get 2 of those, so that finishes anti-tank. Anti-air, we can have another 2 units in both B and C. Can't get any more Bofors. But now we can get the quad-mounted 50mm anti-tank, anti-aircraft guns. So let's get a couple of those. Do we need to keep anything for phase C? Phase C, heavier gun, might come in handy for anti-tank. So we'll put one of those in for phase C. So that finishes the anti-aircraft. Anti-tank is done. Support is done. Tanks, we can get another 3 with the tanks. So let's put in the M4A3s with the 76mm guns. Alright, so that's recon finished. Infantry, tank, support, anti-tank, anti-aircraft, and because I've put so many tanks in, we don't have anything for artillery or aircraft. So let's drop that one and that one. That gives us 2 spaces available for artillery. Support, let's drop one of those. That gives us anti-aircraft, happy with that. So artillery, let's go for 4 priests. And the rocket system on top of the Sherman. That leaves us with 1 space left for aircraft. Alright, so we've got 2 Mustangs and 2 Lightnings. Would really like to get a Thunderbolt in there. Let's drop the Lightning and we'll put 3 Thunderbolts in there. Alright, so we have no aircraft reinforcements during phase B. We can now, we've got 1 activation point left. So we've got the rocket system, we've got the M7, phase B and phase C. We've got no artillery during phase A, unless we went back to the 81mm mortar. It does have a good range, 1200 metres. It is supported well by the 12.7mm machine gun. I think we'll go for the big boys. Go for the M7s. Alright, so you can see there on the top right hand side we've maxed out our activation points of 36 out of 36. So just to recap, we've got scouts in reconnaissance initially with some M8 armoured cars. Phase B, we get an additional 4 armoured cars. Infantry, we've got 8 infantry squads commanded by 2 units of 3 commanders each, reinforced in phase B by another 12 squads of infantry. For tank, in Phase A, we've got two Command Stuart Honeys and two M4A1 Shermans. Phase B, we've got the reinforcement of 5 M4A3s with a 75mm. And in Phase C, we get the better 76mm guns, and we get 6 M4A3s. Support, we've got some trucks for replenishment. We've got a M20 command vehicle for the M8 Scout car in Phase A, and in Phase B we get 2 M4A3s with 105mm howitzer. Anti-tank, Phase A we get 6 57mm anti-tank guns, and in Phase B we get 2 76mm anti-tank guns. Anti-air, in Phase A we get 6 Bofors, which will be brutal, especially for half-tracks and infantry as well as aircraft. Phase B we get the M16 half-track, and Phase C we get 4 M15s with the heavier 37mm cannon, as well as a couple of machine guns. In artillery, we've got the M4A3 with the roof-mounted rocket system, or the Calup, and in Phase C we get 8 M7 Priests. And finally in aircraft, in Phase A we get a couple of grasshoppers for reconnaissance to find out where the enemy is and what their avenue of advancement might be. A couple of Mustangs for support of the troops by keeping air superiority. And in Phase C we get the ground attack aircraft with the P-47 Thunderbolts, and we get 3 of those. So that's my take on a balanced and combined arms concept mindset for Steel Division. I hope you like it, and you will see this battle group in action shortly in some upcoming videos. So if you have any questions or queries, or got an alternative opinion, that's fine. That's what it's all about. Everyone can have their own choices, but don't forget to like, get back to me, and feel free to comment. So until next time, this is the Major out. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.